Yeah. Give me a short and torch for my podcast called Woke by Accident. It is a weekly chat about social topics impacting the culture. Yeah. Give me a short and torch for my podcast called Woke by Accident. It is a weekly chat about social topics impacting the culture.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. Welcome. I am your host, Jen, and we have another great topic for you today. So please join in. You may have seen the title, Your Degree is Not Enough. So you may wonder what is the deal with that. And so I will share more about that. So, in this episode, we came across a really interesting article, a report that we wanted to dig into and tie that together with some info. We love a TikTok moment. Tie that together with some info. Cool story that we saw on TikTok that definitely needs exposure in support of another Black female content creator, which we do support our content creators. So let's get into that. So, in this episode, we're talking about this report from the IWPR, and it is called Barriers Not Bootstraps. So, this is a report about the structural employment barriers Black women continue to face, even with education. So, let's see here. So Black women are told to get the degree, gain experience, work twice as hard, build their resume. But a new research says is what many of us already know. The barriers are real. So in this episode, we're discussing this report, and the name of the report is Barriers Not Bootstraps, the Reality, and I'm actually going to show that. The Institute, oh my goodness, what does it say? Okay, the Institute for Women's Policy Research. They crafted this report. It is titled Barriers Not Bootstraps of Job Prospects Are Uneven for Young Black Women. So you can imagine my ears perked up entirely when I came across this article on Threads and definitely went into the report. And so wanted to share thoughts on that and allow other people to ponder on some of the things brought up in this report and this research that was done about Black women in the job market. We've had lots of conversations on the show about generational wealth and what we can do to counter that, improve that. And so, yeah, this conversation is definitely one of importance. In addition, we will talk about a recent conversation about a ADHD creator who is popular on TikTok and other social platforms. Her name is Breanne Saturdays. Now, she accused a larger white creator of copying her educational content nearly word for word. And we're going to play a clip to demonstrate this. And I thought this was important because Black women, when they create ideas and someone else gets credit, the followers, the brand opportunities, the money, we definitely want to call that out. And that is definitely a pattern that we've been seeing, quite a bit lately. As a podcaster, a producer, a reseller, an entrepreneur, a creator, I know content is labor, it is research, it is lived experience, it is time. Let's pull this back. It is time, it's strategy. And Black women deserve to be credited, protected, funded, and paid for our work. So listen, share, and join in the conversation. We are doing this episode live, and the audio episode will be out very soon. All right. So let's get back into it. So the core of what we're discussing, Black women's employment struggles are not evidence of lack of ambition, education, or work ethic. They reflect structural barriers that can persist even when the headline job numbers appear to improve. So we're talking about why a degree does not always translate into equal opportunity for Black women. a lower and why a lower unemployment number cannot tell the whole story, and what we can do personally, collectively, and politically to push back on these barriers. So here we are. So this report, and I'm going to throw that back up. Again, the report that we're discussing is from the Institute of Women's Policy Research. It is titled Barriers, Not Bootstraps. And they made something very clear. Black women's economic challenges are not about a lack of education, ambition, and work ethic. So even with degrees, experience, careers, and growing industries, Black women can face longer job searches and unequal access to opportunity. In December of 2025, this is also found in the report. The report found Black women spent a median of 19 weeks unemployed, more than twice as long as white women's 9-week median. So this is research pulled from this report. So this is not just numbers out of the sky, actual research, concrete numbers. But this conversation does not end the corporate office or the job application. For many Black women, content creation, entrepreneurship, podcasting, even influencing, digital media have become another way to build income, community, and ownership. So, with those spaces come their own challenges: inconsistent pay, algorithm changes, online harassment, pressure to constantly produce, and the all too familiar experience of having our original work copied without credit. So let's get into that now. That was a perfect segue into our good sis. Well, I don't know, but I came across this story and my mouth just dropped. I was really surprised in what I saw. So this is Brianne Saturday, and then this is the creator that is accused of plagiarizing her work. So let's take a look. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let's start over. Oh my God. Okay, so that was the video. And shout out to Brianne Saturdays for calling her out. Uh, a lot of people in the comments mentioned that they went through the same thing, but they didn't have the courage to do what she did, which is call them out. Let me get my screen back situated here. All right. Yeah. So, what do we think about that? Um, really, and if you can't see the dates, but her video came out before the white ladies video came out. So it's clearly copying, it's clearly plagiarizing, and it looks like she hasn't received an official outcome of this. It's still like ongoing. This is very recent, as of like 10 days ago. So, but I've seen people in the comments that are offering to assist her with legal measures and things like that. And she looks like she may definitely have a case. So hopefully she will pursue that, because yeah, it's a pretty nasty feeling to see that in real time, that someone has taken what you've come up with, even the mannerisms, even the hand gestures, mimicking all of that as though we're something for entertainment purposes. It's, really kind of disgusting, actually, if you can get past the shock of it all. But I guess, at this point, are we even shocked? We see a lot of creators experiencing this. So I definitely wanted to talk about that. Again, shout out to Brianne Saturdays, who um, does amazing ADHD content. And so, this whole fiasco has taken away from what she's actually talking about. So we, definitely recommend you guys check out her content, as she talks about living as a neurodivergent person, and how she, per, thrives in her life and such. Okay, let me get back on track here. So yeah, that was pretty shocking. Okay, so back to the report, which I feel like is related, because a lot of women have went toward the route of content creation because, one, there's money there, it's an opportunity, and then the other reason is that because it's kind of like, because of the job market being so difficult, it's another opportunity. Just like a lot of people have went toward um, the fields of like the door dashing and Instacart and those type of independent professions, because the job market is kind of negatively impacting all parties. This report specifically deals with Black women, but everyone is definitely experiencing struggles and difficulties in this current job market, based on our administration, for several reasons. So, shifting back to this report on the job market, the IWPR found that Black women face disproportionate job losses in 2025, and December 2025, spending a median, we talked about the 19 weeks unemployed before finding work, which is twice than the 9-week median for white women. EPI's analysis also found that Black women with bachelor's degrees saw the largest employment rate drop among Black women by education level in 2025, and this is a decline from 3.5 percentage points. From my own professional experience, I have seen how experience can be minimized, how job descriptions can shift, how qualified does not always mean selected. I mean, I think we've all experienced some of these things in our professional lives, the ones that have a 9 to 5, and we do some entrepreneurial ventures over here. But we always got to take it back to the 9 to 5, because that's the thing, we got to make ends meet. We got bills to pay, we've got to have a roof over our head and all the things. So what I want people to reflect on and think about is whether they've ever had to prove themselves repeatedly in these spaces where others were given the benefit of doubt. Okay, and so this report in the report, it challenges 3 common excuses: that Black women need more education, that Black women are there are too many Black women entering the workforce, and that their industries lack openings. So we're going into fields that don't have jobs. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, That's a lot. That's really a lot. The report looks at excuses people often make. So maybe Black women are not qualified enough. Maybe there are not enough jobs in the fields that they work in. Maybe young, too many young Black women are entering the labor market. But the data does not support those particular explanations. IWPR found that no recent decline in Black women's educational attainment and noted that Black workers have higher unemployment than white workers at every education level. So it also found that sectors where many Black women work, including healthcare, private education, professional slash business services, still had comparable strong job openings. Yet Black women remain less able to access those jobs. So a conclusion we can draw is that a degree is valuable, but it does not erase racism, sexism, bias, exclusionary networks, or unequal access to mentorship and sponsorship, right? Credentials can lead to more student debt without guaranteeing the job, promotion, pay, or stability that it was promised. AI-based resume screeners, hiring tools deserve scrutiny. IWPR notes concerns that these systems can reinforce racial biases and in already difficult job market. So something that we thought was a great tool to help us succeed and be more competitive. These AI type of resume resources and tools may not be helpful at all, based on this right here. So that's really interesting and shocking and really, frankly, disappointing. The issue is not whether Black women are working hard enough. The issue is whether workplaces are creating fair access and accountability. So there it is. It's all about access and ability, right? So we want to round this out, so what can we do? Um, we want to be clear. Networking harder, fixing a resume cannot solve systemic discrimination clearly, right? Clearly, it cannot. But we can still equip ourselves, document what we experience, and build community while we demand more from employers and policymakers. Call out injustice, even if it is just someone on TikTok that has copied everything you put out. Have the courage to expose them, similar to what Breanne Saturdays has done. Maybe she wants to seek out a lawsuit and take action in her case, right? Also, it recommends that keeping a record of job applications, interviews, recruiter communication, compensation discussions, you record all of this information, performance feedback, promotion decisions, that people should ask salary ranges early on in the process, compare pay information where legally permitted. And sometimes there's a lot of special rules around that. So they're recommending to ask about it. Sometimes they'll turn it on you and ask about salary at the end, but maybe you can mention it early. So that's definitely some interesting advice that the article is giving us. Also, it recommends using professional associations, alumni networks, unions, affinity groups, and trusted community connections to find opportunities beyond automated application systems. So we can't just, rely on Career Builder and LinkedIn, shout out to those platforms, but, dig deeper, think outside the box, right? Because clearly these are barriers that are in front of us. So we thinking outside of the box is definitely a way that we can get past this. So in closing, Black, this article that we were reviewing is called Bootstraps, right? Black women, do we really need another lecture about bootstraps? Have we have already clearly built careers, families, businesses, movements, communities, while carrying burdens that often go unseen. What we need, and I think we established this earlier, is fair access, fair pay, real protection from discrimination, and workplaces that recognize qualifications without moving the goalposts. So if you are a Black woman who is searching for a job, as I actually know several people who are searching for jobs right now, under facing underemployment, recovering from a layoff. How many of us have experienced a layoff? Just period. I think we can all raise our hand on that one. Questioning your own value because of this market has been hard. So please know that the problem is not you. This report, this research lets us know it's not us. We're not the problem, right? So we should continue to build, continue to apply, continue to advocate. Like we were saying, think outside the box, use your network, use, the relationships. Um, Maybe use AI to craft letters that can be sent out to your network. I've even seen people put videos out there, putting themselves and what their skills are, right? So this is the call to action. All right. So think outside the box. Definitely be supportive of ways of think of ways that you can be supportive to the community who is dealing with this. Not just women. This article dealt with women in particular. Everyone's going through tough times and barriers in this market, but we definitely wanted to tackle and share about this. So we invite you to share maybe some job experience, workplace experiences that you have went through, and let us know about that either in the comments or send us a message. We definitely want to continue these conversations. All right, because we definitely have seen these patterns before. Again, thank you for allowing us to share about the ADHD creator, Brianne Saturdays. We definitely hope things work out for her and her amazing content on TikTok and social media. All right. So, in closing, we hope that today's conversation has enlightened you and inspired you. If you found the episode meaningful, please consider sharing it with family, friends, colleagues. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. We invite you to stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to continuing these important conversations in the future. So, with that, until next time, take care.